Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to episode 2 of Roll the Dice with CC. I'm your host, and on today's episode, we will be, reviewing some TV shows that I've been watching over the last couple of days. And without further ado, let's get right into it. So, for those of you, I don't know if you've seen Mr. and Mrs. Smith, the reboot on Amazon Prime, based off of the movie that came out in 2005 with Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. But in this new reboot, Childish Gambino, aka Donald Glover, and Maya Erskine, in a limited comedy type series, basically doing like an updated version of the movie from '05. So in this comedy version, it's like there's a lot of similarities, but it's still vastly different. Now, from a movie perspective, with Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie, obviously you still have the two competing agencies and whatnot that are, trying to get a drop on the other one. But in the limited series, both of them are working within the same agency, and then they don't find out till later that they're actually supposed to be, you know, not necessarily enemies, but something happens in the show. Like you can go ahead and watch it, but if you really don't care about spoilers, basically they're coming in to do a job, but they're married. But in the movie version, they're married, but it's like the best kept secret that they don't know that they're working for opposing companies. But in the series version, it's like they're working for the same company and they do every single mission together. Now, going back and watching the movie version, I'm like, it was good. It was a good watch, but I feel like if you did a side by side comparison, some things the movie version does better. Obviously, some things the limited series version does better. But being Gambino is one of the main actors for the limited series. You know the type of stuff he'd be on, like Atlanta, and obviously having a heavily impacted role in Vince Staples shows. We'll get into that a little bit later in the show, but I want to say the movie version, like it's it's almost like that. It's almost like that should be. It's kind of like, I mean, it's a movie, so you can get away with doing like crazy stunts as opposed to a TV series. But as it pertains to the live action series, there's there's a good bit of like modernized jokes and whatnot. Now I'm not gonna say them on here because you might want to find that out for yourself. But if you ever seen Atlanta, you know what I'm talking about. Like like it's up there. Now I did enjoy the limited series, but I will say at that towards the end, it did make me want to, go back and rewatch the movie per se. So I was like, okay, I have my perspective on the show, and then I have my perspective on the movie, and it's like they have a good grasp of what they tried to take away from the movie piece and then implement into the show, but it kind of rubbed a lot of people the wrong way because like you could call Mr. and Mrs. Smith from '05 a classic, but at the end of the day, it's another one of those kind of like spy intelligence agency movies where, oh, you have to you have two people or organization or whatever. They go plan a heist and whatnot. And then a competing agency does the same thing, come together, and then eventually at the end of the movie they work together type shit. But that's like a textbook kind of thing. But then on a limited series side, it's two people coming together for a high risk job, know nothing about the other person. They grow to learn more about that person, and then they gain each other's trust, doing different types of jobs and whatnot. And then eventually, toward the end, they actually have a stronger bond than when they first started and met with each other. But all that must come to an end when they have to, eliminate the other one. But one thing I did like about the limited series was at the beginning of the show, they showed a previous version, not a previous version, but they showed a previous couple who just so happened to be the former Smiths, and then they finished their story and then opened up Gambino and Maya's story. So that was a nice little piece that they added in there. But I did wish that they had expanded a little bit more on some of the missions. Now, the missions they did, actually managed to show in its entirety. I did like that, but some of the other missions, it was like they had this one mission where Gambino was the lead, and then Maya eventually ruined his plan because she felt like he was taking too long. And then it was like they had like this back and forth, argument. Like you, like if you watch the show, you'll understand what I'm talking about. It sounds like I'm just rambling, but like if you watch it, you'll be like, okay, yeah, that's what he was talking about. But it was one of back and forth arguments where he was like, oh, you never let me lead. And then she was like, because every time you lead, you make it harder and make it take longer than it has to be. And then it eventually got to the point where they did like a little couples therapy session, which based on the movie that happened. But for the movie part, it was more like a recap at the beginning, and then they go into the movie, show what happened, like how they met and whatnot, and then at the end of the movie, kind of like the same therapy session. But at the end of the limited series, you have like they meet, yada yada yada, go through everything, and then towards like the last couple minutes of every episode, well, not every episode, but maybe like the last 3-4-ish episodes, they have a therapy session, and then they come back the following episode, talk to the therapist, which doesn't really help because every episode that they go to see her, it gets worse. So they're pretty much just going there just to talk and then tell their side of the story, but it really don't help either one of them because they, are already done with the relationship. But it's a good watch. If you like comedy, it is a comedy series, even though there is a lot of action. But I will say it's a good watch. Now, obviously, if you aren't a fan of Gambino's work and stuff, like I'd still check it out because maybe it paints you a different picture than what you're kind of used to seeing him in. But other than that, I recommend it. Now for the Vince Staples show, I watched that a couple days ago. Now that that is a good watch. If you like Atlanta, it's pretty much, I'm not gonna say Atlanta, the Atlanta version of LA, but you could see it's hella influenced by Gambino. As I've seen a lot of people say, it's kind of satire. Like there's a lot of, I'm not gonna say like stereotypes, but it's a lot of stuff in the Vince Staples show where it's like, okay, you could clearly see this type of situation happening to you, where like they had a family reunion episode, and if you watch that, you're gonna be like, damn, this seemed like some shit that would happen to me and my family. Like that was pretty funny. Um, then it had another episode. I don't know if this would have happened to anybody, but like Vince had went back to his school, be like kind of like a motivational speaker, and then one of the kids in the class that was listening to him, he was like, "Hey, my dad knows you. You had the same name," and then they had given him this annoying nickname, and then toward the end of the episode, well, not toward the end of the episode, like this whole episode was based around that, but throughout the episode, the kid's dad tried to kill Vince because he was like remembering everything that happened to him. No, obviously they didn't show the flashbacks in the episode, but a lot of stuff that happened to Vince basically transpired in the other Vince's mind, and it was just a whole bunch of crazy shit that happened. But yeah, that was a good watch. And then they had a bank robbery episode where that kind of hit a little bit harder for some people because it's like, okay, he had an idea, try to go to the bank, get a loan. They basically clown dude saying, you really don't have any kind of reason to be here. Like, granted, yeah, you have a proposal for us, but we think it's stupid, so we're not gonna give you the money. And then bank gets robbed. Eventually, he does, work out a situation with the bank, but it don't help him because when they finally unlock the vault, that joint is empty, and somebody else had already robbed the bank. and to make matters even, well, not matters worse, but it makes it a little bit funnier because the people who robbed the bank, Vince knew them, so he was walking around like like he was Teflon, like, hey, dapping up the robbers, like, hey, yo, like, bro, like, what you doing? Like, oh yeah, like, how your mom's, bro? She said, hey, you one of the few people my mom actually liked, like all that type of stuff. But yeah, it was a good watch. I feel like it should have been longer. You know, it's on Netflix, and you know how Netflix be, if you have like a new limited series, chances are it's gonna be short, and then if it gets renewed for another season, then you might get more episodes. But usually people will, submit some real quick, get people's feedback, and then see if they get another season greenlit, and then move on from there. Now, if they did do another season of that, I'd like it to be like 8 episodes. Now, it wasn't a bad watch, but you could kind of tell that it was kind of rushed, and that's not a bad thing, but it's kind of all over the place. Like every episode has like 3 or 4 different, little skits that they just sprinkle in throughout the episode. But if you've watched Atlanta, you watched the first episode, it's obviously like all of these episodes, well, not all of these episodes, but all these TV shows that have like the same common overarching theme, they always have like a jail episode. And if you know what, well, like the first 2 episodes of Atlanta, whatever happened on those episodes, you will see this episode of the Vince Staples show, and you'll be like, bruh, this looks exactly like that Atlanta episode where Gambino and Cousin Al got arrested. Gambino, obviously, his character broke, but his cousin is about to be a rapper. So Al get out on bail, Gambino in there until somebody else can come get him out. And it's just a bunch of weird, a bunch of weird shit. There's a bunch of weird shit happening in the holding area. And if you watch the Vince Staples show, you will literally see like the exact same thing happen to him. Got this annoying ass nigga. Now, obviously, in Vince's case, he's a well-known rapper, but obviously some people throughout the show, like, who the hell is Vince Staples? Like, we don't know who that is. But for the first episode, which is the jail scene, is like the the police officers know Vince Staples, and some of the inmates know who he is. So this one dude who's in there, he's trying to, put Vince onto his music. He's like, hey, he's like, oh snap, I know who I think it is. Like, oh, this is Vince. Like, hey, bro, I really be trying to get through this music shit, but like, Vince he don't care. Like, bruh's trying to leave, and dude just sitting there, just pestering him. Like, this man starts singing in the holding cell, and Vince is like, bruh, guard, please take me out of this, bruh. And then you see another dude in there who be, I'm not gonna say like with a beefing gang, but like Vince know who he is, and then they get to rapping, but bruh's like, bro, I don't want to. He's like, bro, why are you talking to me, bro? Like, when I get out of here, bro, I'm gonna get you. And Vince is like, oh nah, bro, let me get out of here. But it's it's funny because every episode ends the same pretty much, where some crazy shit go down throughout the day. He come home, talk to his girl. She asked him, everything cool? Like, yeah, it was all right. Anything happen? Anything weird, crazy happen? He like, nah. And then episode ends. So that's that's kind of funny. Like, hey, you come home, anything happen? No. Okay, cool. Well, that's all there is to it. But thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. If you have any recommendations for shows that I should watch, leave them down in the comment section. I will also link episode 1, which is audio only, in the description. But again, thank you for listening. Thanks for watching. Remember, take a chance, take a risk, take a gamble. But remember, if you roll the dice, everything is fine. I'm out. Peace.